We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I am your host on this magical mystery tour that we call Ole Miss Fandom, Stephen Willis. Thank you for joining us from the palatial Central Florida studios. I'm happy to tell you all that you need to know about Ole Miss sports. Before we get started, I want to tell you about the Vault Society. That's the big push from the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. That's Vault Society's support. It's a 5-year commitment of support. Membership starts at $5,000 a year, and there's a benefit chart on the site. All gifts made to Ole Miss between now and June 30th, that's coming up in about a week exactly, will receive triple points. Red points are non-deductible and go towards priority seating. Blue points are 90% tax deductible and go towards parking and non-home ticketed games. That'd be postseason, bowl games, neutral site. We've got a good example of that coming up on Labor Day. If you have any questions about that, go to givetoathletics.com. Again, that is givetoathletics.com. Also, if you're interested in the show, we are available on Twitter at The Stephen Willis and at The Rebel Walk. Catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast or The Rebel Walk. You can catch us on YouTube at positivelyolemiss. There's that. You subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about, and that'll help you out. Because basically that bell will sign you up for notifications that can just shoot you on your phone and let you know whenever we're on live. We're also on Twitch at positivelyolemiss. If audio is more of your thing, you can catch us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and Pandora. We're also on smaller podcatchers, but if we went to name them, they would be here. They would be here all day. So that's what we have to say about that. Thank you very much for joining us. List season can begin in earnest. All the nonsense of the last couple of weeks is behind us. Now we can begin list season. What does that mean? Well, that means the Athlons and Lindy's magazines have come out. They've been out for a couple of weeks now. Basically on Lindy's over here, they've got Ole Miss preseason number 26, and in Athlon, they've got Ole Miss in preseason number 27. About what we thought, I mean, anytime you're dealing with the rank, who are these people ranking them? What kind of knowledge do they have? Are they just telling us what we want to hear? Stuff like that. That is the nature of preseason rankings. That is really how they make their money, and that's what you need to know, and they're rarely right. But they have Ole Miss number 26 in Lindy's and number 27 in Athlon's. That's, you look at Lindy's right here. This is it, and that's the cover. The preseason number 1, I'll tell you their top 25 real quick. Alabama's number 1, no shock. Clemson number 2, no shock. Oklahoma number 3, no shock. It just depends on which one they get blown out of between 1 and 2. Georgia, number 4, that's a little bit of a shock. That also depends. You've heard us talk about whether or not Kirby Smart can take his thumb off the offense. If he can do that, they have a chance to be really good, and that's been the thing that's been holding them back, really, the last 4 years. Ohio State, number 5. Texas A&M, number 6. Good gracious. Texas A&M that high. Iowa State, number 7. I don't agree with the Cyclones being that high either. Cincinnati, number 8. North Carolina, number 9. I kind of agree with North Carolina being up there, but I don't know if they'll be there or if Miami will be there. Depends on which one of those take the jump. Oregon, number 10. I don't know if I agree with that. Notre Dame, number 11. Don't know if I agree with that. Florida, number 12. Got to replace the Kyles. It all depends on that. Now, we've seen Dan Mullen run this offense before. Nick Fitzgerald, Chris Relf, early Dak Prescott. If Emory Jones does that, I think he can do that quite well. If he's asked to do what Kyle Trask did, there could be a problem. Wisconsin, number 13. Miami, like we just said earlier, I think they might finish higher than North Carolina, but they got them at number 14. Oklahoma State, number 15. Just avoid Ole Miss, Oklahoma State. That's one thing we learned. LSU, number 16. No. Washington, number 17. I'm curious, they without Chris Peterson, what they can do. And Iowa, number 18. I don't see that. Arizona State, number 19. A lot of stuff coming out about them. I doubt the NCAA will move quick enough to get them this season anyway, though. Indiana, number 20. Well, we saw Indiana. They were a good team, but, okay. Penn State, number 21. USC, number 22. Coastal Carolina, number 23. Texas, number 24. And Auburn, number 25. That is the top 25. Now, ranking Auburn number 25 feels like they're ranking them based off of their fan base and their neediness and their need for affirmation. We'll just put it as that. Brian Harsin coming in for Gus Malzahn. I don't know how successful of a transition that system will be to a Gus Malzahn system. I know they got a quarterback. I mean, TJ Finley's there. They've got Bo Nix. I worry about Bo Nix being known from his legs and being an average runner. That's a problem for Bo Nix. But, I mean, it's there. By the way, bottom of the list, they have New Mexico State, number 130. I think Eli Johnson, former center, is New Mexico State at the moment. But that's the teams, what they're doing. Ole Miss, I believe the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, Ole Miss is getting a new beat writer for football. That was on Twitter. The Pavilion is opening up to 100% capacity. That's no surprise. And I think that's really about it for actual news. So we can just talk a little bit. We can just rant a little bit. We can just look at these lists that are going on. Here's the Athlons. So just look at that. Everybody likes to rank position. I think Athlon's ranked Matt Corral pretty well. Except, that's the one that ranked Ole Miss, Matt Corral is 10th for the Heisman. We've already done this. The Spencer Rattler, G.J. Ugalele, Bryce Young, number 3. He hasn't done anything. I mean, this is all on assumption. The Lindy's Heisman watch, that's even more of a joke of a list. Let's see if we can bring that up real quick. See if I can find that. See. Either way, I'm looking at it, looking for it at the moment, so we'll hopefully find it. Let's see, we're getting close. Yeah, there's a transfer portal section this year, by the way, which there honestly needs to be. All right, Heisman watch. Spencer Rattler, number 1. He's somehow a unanimous number 1. I guess they assumed that Oklahoma's going to be good. And to the press, this has turned into a team war because they're not smart enough to understand quarterback play and what really goes into it. Sam Howell, number 2. That's, you get into the circle, those are the 2 names that bounce around. DJ Ugalele, 2 starts. Number 3 on the Heisman list, 2 starts. Bryce Young, never start. And the write-up for it is new quarterback for the number 1 team. That's their write-up and their justification for it. JT Daniels, that's all going to depend about Kirby Smart. If Kirby takes the thumb off the offense, he could be a dark horse to win the Heisman this year. Literally. De'Aaron King, I love De'Aaron King. Great player. Really fun. CJ Stroud, new quarterback at Ohio State. So there's new quarterback at Clemson, new quarterback at Alabama, new quarterback at Ohio State. Brock Purdy at Iowa State needs to cut down on the turnovers. Keaton Slovis, USC, air raid quarterback. Number 10, Brian Robinson, running back at Alabama. Again, a first-time starter. So there's 2 on the top 10 list from the same school that's a first-time starter. Hasn't started a game yet. But there's assumptions made moving forward. These people don't know what they're seeing. They only know what other people say about what's being said. This can move magazines. The Alabama fans are rabid. 2 members in the top 20, or the Heisman, the top 10. Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma. Rabid fan base. Okay. Move magazines. DJ Ugalele. Move magazines. That's really what it's about, unfortunately. But it's list season. We made it into list season. I'll show you again the front of the cover of that. The powder blue uniforms for the Reds. Also, we'll talk about this whenever we come back from break. But in all the build-up for the 2021 season, Navy has taken a back seat, and the powder blue has become the dominant blue color used. Maybe that's something we'll discuss when we come back as well. But we will take a short break. Hope you enjoy the waiting screen that was built today. But we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the honorable mentions in the Rebel rankings and possibly the uniform choices moving forward for Ole Miss football. So stick around. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the POMcast. Stephen Willis here, coming to you from the palatial Central Florida studios. Before we get started, I want to tell you about the rebelwalk.com. Evelyn and her team do a fantastic job. They provide a subscriber-level experience for no money. The only thing that costs you is time. And boy, oh boy, is it worth it. If you want to follow Ole Miss sports, have fun doing it. The rebelwalk.com is the avenue to do that. That is the rebelwalk.com. All right. Rebel rankings come back out Friday at 3 o'clock. This week's subject is the most important upset wins in Ole Miss history. Now, these aren't the greatest upset wins. These, all of that. Important as in that game was necessary to get where they got. There had to be a result at the end of the journey, so to speak. So, 1977 Notre Dame did not make the list. We talk about the game. That game was in Jackson, super hot day, September. Didn't make it because there was no bowl game attached to the end of the season. There was no return to glory. There was no anything like that. It was just a singular moment, greatest upset of all time. It probably would come in at 3 and 4 on a greatest list. But it didn't show up on our top 5 of most important upsets of all time. The other one that did not show up in the greatest upsets of all time, or the most important upsets of all time, is 1952 Maryland. And the reason it did not show up, even though it signified the arrival of Ole Miss football as a national player, way back when. Shortly after 1971, Ole Miss entered into beyond a valley, beyond a crater. Entered into 40 years of desert life, basically. So that 19-year period between 1952 and 1971, to me, it just does not hold water anymore. It's an upset. It will probably show up on the list of time after time, upsets. The greatest of all time with the school. But it's not on the most important because its importance has been lost over 69 years. So that's the reason those two slipped off to honorable mention land. And obviously coming up, we'll have more honorable mentions tomorrow that did not make the list. And then Friday will be the actual release of the Rebel Rankings show. 2 o'clock Central Time. Rebel Rankings. Most important upset win in Ole Miss football history. It should be really cool. Now, I do want to take a little bit of time, and by a little bit of time, I mean pretty much the rest of the show. So if this doesn't interest you and we're not really going to go to anything else, you can hop off at any point in time. But the navy blue has been a little bit replaced by the powder blue. Now the navy's here already, and it'll probably get broken out a couple of times. But as far as recruiting and advertising colors to prospects, you're seeing a lot more of that powder blue uniform, and you're also seeing some powder blue pants in some publications to send out. Now, why is that? I'm not 100% sure, other than the fact that Kiffin probably really likes the powder look at the top, and I expect them to go monochromatic at some point. I'm of the opinion there's a pair of powder blue pants out there, and I think they're going to wear them. They're going to break them out this year, and you're going to see all powder blue helmet all the way down. So it will be interesting to see how this evolves, because it looks like, as far as the top 2 uniforms that we've always had, which has always been red and navy blue, is now red and powder blue. Doesn't mean we don't have a navy blue uniform. It just means that on the pecking order, it looks like it's dropped off a little bit. And honestly, after last year, the red's the one that's dropped off, because we wore it one time last year. We saw the opportunity to wear that against Auburn, and we didn't really wear it again. That was also the only time last year we wore gray pants. Was the Auburn game. Navy blue helmet, not powder blue helmet. But there's been a lot of powder blue with the white uniform, all white, which I really like that look, by the way. The red numbers, the powder blue helmet, all white. I like the way that looks. I like the way, I don't know, it seems like a stripe of some kind should be on the pants. It does seem like that. We've tried that, and we go back and forth. Every time we come out with a all-white pant, we're like, there needs to be a stripe. And then we put the stripe on it, and then we go back to an all-white pant. So I don't know what the answer might be to that. I am expecting against Louisville, if we're the home team, to break out basically the powder blue jersey and some kind of special jersey, because Kiffin's not one to wait. It doesn't look like. Last year against Florida, we broke out powder blue, and if we're the home team, I'm honestly expecting all powder. If we are the road team, I'm expecting those blue powder pants with the powder helmet. I'm also expecting at some point a white helmet to where we will Houston Oilers this up, which will be white helmet, powder blue jersey, white pants. So it will genuinely look like Houston Oilers, their setup. But this is genuine list season. We have about 4 weeks, a little bit, about 3 weeks until SEC Media Days. So we're going to work on that. Remember, Friday, Rebel rankings come out. We are working on Leanne Herring and the Rebel Walk recruiting show. We're working on putting that together. We had a little technology glitch, and we're trying to fix that real quick. And we're also going to do an autopsy on Ole Miss baseball now that all this is over. So that's what we have in the future for you guys. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to give you several minutes back today. So thank you for listening, and we will be back tomorrow with more POMcast. Hotty toddy.